For the breakout. All right, so good morning on everyone. Good morning to everyone on YouTube, and good morning to everyone in the live trading room. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I had a relaxing one. Taj, I hope you had a good weekend as well. Um, I think I'm just back. Good, glad to get back into the trading. I kind of missed it yesterday. Yesterday I was really consumed with cryptocurrency. Uh, you guys probably saw in the Discord, but I'm glad that the stock market is open and we're ready to take some trades here. So I'm gonna keep my A list really really simple today. So GameStop is gonna be my first one. GameStop has got some news that they are looking. I guess the executive team is looking at bringing someone in from Chewy to focus on their e-commerce business. So that is a fundamental news catalyst that is positive for GameStop. So of course, on a stock that is heavily day traded by the Reddit community, and that is still attempted to be shorted because it's still elevated from this whole saga, right? It's popping 20 points. I was scalping it in pre-market, but today I think it's gonna potentially have a good run on it, and I don't care if it runs or if it sells off. I just like it because there's going to be volatility with it. So right now it's setting up to really break out a pre-market high. So if it breaks out at 158, definitely go long. But remember, with GameStop, you got to give it room to wiggle, right? So you got to put stops at like 154, 153. So that's a 4 to 5 point range on GameStop. But this is a stock that could easily probably run. I mean, let me look at level 2 here just to see where. This could easily run to 170, 180. That's just how crazy GameStop can be, right? So GameStop is definitely going to be on my A list. The other one that's going to be on my A list is EYES, EYES. This is like a small cap that is being traded pretty heavily. And if you look at Friday, it traded, so many millions of shares. Like it just circulated its float so many times, and it only has like a 23 million shares outstanding. And pre-market has been pretty fun. I was also scalping this one in pre-market. If this rallies back up and looks to break out of the pre-market high, we're definitely breaking out of Friday's highs. And Friday's highs is sitting at about $9.90. This thing can go on a run, especially with all the volume that's coming in. I don't know if there's any fundamental news on this one. I just know that it's being heavily day traded. Let me take a look at my scanner just to see. I guess it looks like, oh yeah, U.S. FDA grants approval to second sites Argus 2S retinol, blah 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 blah, whatever. Point is that there seems like there's some good news on it, which is bringing heavily volatility to the stock. So I don't concern myself too much exactly with the technicals and what the news is. What I really like to see is volatility and range, and this has got both of them. So like I said, if it breaks out of 90.60, you can go long. First target is $9.90. And then we just rip it, right? Level 2 looks pretty clean on this one. With pre-market data, there are no sellers past $10. Yeah, no sellers past $10. So this can get pretty nutty. This one could get pretty nutty. It has the profile to get nutty. And what I mean by nutty is like this thing could probably go to 15, 20 bucks. It just fits that profile. So, not saying it's going to get there. I'm just, it has the look. So, this one is also going to be on my A list for today. Another one that's going to be on my A list is Tesla. So, Tesla has huge range, gapping down to 560 this morning. And look, just gap filled. Now it's trading back at 600 bucks. There was some news. Tesla is apparently working on some battery facility to help with the electrical grid in Texas. That's pretty interesting news. I'd like to do a little bit more research on it. Not sure how that can prop up the stock, but it's getting bought up. Now it's in positive territory in pre-market. So I like the range that it's providing today. If you look at Friday Tesla had a huge like V-shaped recovery, but then it really struggled at the 605 level. So if we can break out of that 605, then we can go on a nice run to the upside. If Tesla decides to sell off, I'm going to look at that 588 level. If it breaks that 588, then and let's say like the market is really selling off aggressively, then we can look to find a short entry on it. Because it's already gapping up, to $600, we could possibly find a earlier entry on a potential short if it decides to sell off. So like maybe 594, 595. But I would have to make that judgment call looking at the market and seeing how everything's kind of playing out. So, but for right now, it looks like a long, and you're already up pretty nicely from the lows of pre-market. One other name, or two other names rather, just the overall market, the Qs. I'm going to keep a very close eye on the Qs. A lot of volatility, so whether it rallies, whether it sells off, I am going to definitely play the Qs with put options and call options. So if the Qs breaks below 307 area, I'll go in for some 307 puts. If the market continues to rally, I would need to see like a bull flag set up for me to go long. But some key areas that I'm going to look at. So right now it's sitting at 308, which is a nice level. If you look at Friday, that pre-market at like 9:15, 9:20, this is where it turned around and just decided to sell off right from Friday. So this area where it's sitting at could serve as a little bit of overhead resistance. If it could clearly break out of this, then yeah, we could gap fill the NASDAQ and go for 308 calls. So I'm just gonna be patient and wait for the setup on this one, but nonetheless, definitely gonna be in play for me. Neo is one that I believe some of you, and I believe Taj is still swinging Neo. If you look at the daily chart, this is in complete oversold territory. I mean, look at the RSI on the daily with pre-market data sitting at 29. Anything below 30, pretty oversold. Neo on Friday, pretty much was like less than 2 points away from hitting its 200-day moving average, and look at that bottoming tail bar on the daily. I mean, pretty impressive. Today, I think Neo can get bought up today. If we pull up the daily chart here, where is the AAPL on the daily? Wow, 42.81. Not saying that it can hit 42.81, but we're still ways away from it. I think we can come to test like maybe $39, $40 if the market really decides to push. We just gotta keep an eye on the overall market, like the SPY and the NASDAQ, right? Because if we start to see extreme weakness, especially on the NASDAQ, I don't recommend going long any of these tech names, right? So just be aware of it, be cognizant, and we'll be okay today. We'll make some good money today. So I'm gonna keep my list very simple. Those are my names: GameStop, Eyes, Neo, Tesla, the NASDAQ, and I'll just throw in the SPY and perhaps some other names like Virgin Galactic and PLTR. So, Taj, passing it on to you, bro.
Yeah, man. So I guess I'll just piggyback off of Neo, and then I'll be adding about 4 more names to the watch list that I'll be keeping an eye on. So Neo, yes, I am holding the Neo calls with about 2 weeks left until expiration. My price target on Neo is going to be around the AAPL, so anywhere between $40 to $42, depending on how today acts. I am going to keep break-even stops on my contracts, but what I want to see today is what type of follow-through do we have? We had an extremely strong bounce across the entire market yesterday. Whatever name that you're looking at, you'll see that there's a clear bottoming tail bar at some key areas, whether it's on the SPYs, the Qs, individual names like Neo, Apple, whatever it is. You see we had an extremely damn near V-shaped recovery off an extreme sell-off that happened. So for me, that shows that there is a lot of support at these levels. I do expect some type of continuation today, although that's not guaranteed. So with that being said, I will like to see how today plays out for the most part. If we have an extremely strong day today, and maybe I'll even consider holding those contracts for an additional day. So for Neo, like I said, my first price target is going to be somewhere around that $40 to $42 range, depending on how we act out of the gates, out of the first 30 minutes to the hour of the open. And with that being said, another name that I'll be watching is Apple. Apple, again, today is going to be a day where you can choose some of your favorite names because the overall market is moving. If you look at the pre-market data on any stock, it's pretty much the same exact way that either the SPYs or the Qs were acting. So therefore, that's telling me that there's going to be similar price action to what we saw last week. Not necessarily that we're going to sell a lot of stocks moving. So for me, anytime that happens, like I said, I have to keep an eye on Apple. Apple was a little weak this morning, sold off below 119 from the close of around 121.40. But now we're right back up near the 121 level, and it's actually bull flagging here. So if the market is strong out of the gates, we can actually look for a long here on Apple at 121. Oh, it's breaking out right now, actually. But there's really no resistance until that 121.50, and then after that, 122. So we do have a good amount of room to the upside. Apple, if you look back on February 23rd, actually had some strong support at 118.39. We very shortly dipped below it on Friday and then had that extreme bounce off of that exact level from February 23rd. And now this is a possibility of a solid reversal here. If the entire market is going to be strong today, I think Apple is going to be a great name to trade for a recovery, along with another name, Facebook. So Facebook's been stuck in a very tight range over the past 2 to 3 weeks. It's been trending, just holding solidly off of the 200 MA. And if you look on the daily chart, you have the daily 200, the daily 8 MA, and the daily 20 MA, all just converging on one another, all just squeezing on one another. So what that tells me is Facebook's due for either a breakout or a breakdown. Whatever way it goes, I don't know, but it's gearing up for that. So Facebook, if it can reclaim or if it can trade above the 20 MA, which is around 267.30, 267.20, I think you can see Facebook start to break out to that 270 level, 272, 273, and maybe test this higher point at 283 over the next few weeks. However, if Facebook starts looking weak and breaks down below 254, I think you're going to see Facebook come back down to 244. So Facebook's going to more so be on my B list to see how the market starts reacting. If the market comes out of the gate strong, starts to break out, definitely keep a close eye on Facebook, because if Facebook starts to break out above that 267 level, you're going to see some buying pressure coming in, maybe break out of this flag here, this consolidation we've been having on the past few days. So again, Facebook's going to be on my B list. Another name that I'll have on my A-ish list is AMC. AMC actually had a price target upgrade by, who was it? Wedbush, to $5 from $2.50. Granted, it's still below the current strike price, or the current stock price, right? Was primarily at $2.50, now back up, now it's up to $5. However, nonetheless, it's still a price target upgrade. Because of that, AMC had a nice pop. I'm sure it had something to do with the GameStop rally as well. But nonetheless, very strong pop from the closing price of $8, rallied up to about $8.75, and now we're getting some flagging action here. The volume's pretty solid. We're doing about close to 100,000 shares on a lot of these candlesticks. So the way I see it, if If AMC starts to break out above 855, we can look for a long with stops around 843. So the stops are fairly tight. If it does start to break out above $9, there's really no resistance on AMC until about 950, and then the next resistance point is going to be around 1088. Anytime you see any of these stocks that were, previous movers such as the GameStop, AMC, cost, whatever it is, you're going to see some nice volatility with it. That's what you're seeing with AMC. It's obviously what you're seeing with GameStop. So what I would recommend is anytime you see any of these names get some significant news, whether it's the price target upgrade or something else, similarly to GameStop, definitely look to trade it. Definitely look to take advantage of it because the entire trading community is going to be keeping an eye on these names. One other name that I'd like to keep an eye on is Space, Virgin Galactic, SPCE. And the reason is because Virgin Galactic bounced perfectly off of the 200 MA on Friday. Low is 23.94. The 200 MA was at 24.50, and we got some bottoming tail action happening here. So Virgin Galactic, if it can start to trade back above 27.70, 27.60, we can definitely look for NEO, maybe bounce back up, around that $30 range. The 8MA, daily 8MA is all the way up at 35.9. That's almost $36. And we're still trading at $27. That's $9 away from the 8MA. So that just goes to show how oversold Virgin Galactic is. The RSI is at 31.7. So it's not as sold off as NEO is, not as oversold as NEO is. But nonetheless, it is still an extremely oversold stock. The all-time high on Virgin Galactic, 62.8, at least the yearly high, 62.8. We literally lost half of that value in the span of a little over a month, about a month and a half. In my views, Virgin Galactic is extremely, extremely oversold, and I think it's due for a bounce, at least to the AMA, around that $30 plus range. So, again, if the market is strong today, keep an eye on Virgin Galactic because this is an extremely oversold name that has plenty of range to the upside, but only if the market is strong. Definitely keep an eye on the overall market. Keep an eye on the SPYs. Keep an eye on the Qs because if these names start to rally, you can then pivot to some of these individual names that have been oversold and look for some long opportunities with them. Now, if the market comes out of the gates weak, starts to sell off, definitely be very cautious of it. Don't look to rush to any moves because although it does look like a long for a lot of these names initially, things can change very, very quickly. But other than that, last name is XPEV. So XPEV, if I'm not mistaken, had some news come out. They reported earnings. They actually missed their earnings. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. But XPEV is getting a nice rally. This is another stock that is extremely oversold. The RSI is at 22.39. So it's even more oversold than NEO is. We had a low of around $25 on earlier today, right as the market opened, $25. We rallied all the way up to nearly $30. So that just shows you the range on XPEV currently. $5 move on a $25 stock. This thing's going to be trading pretty heavily today. So keep an eye on it. Again, if the market's strong out of the gates, we can look for longs around that $30 range. We will have to put our stops around $29.40. But XPEV, again, the 8MA all the way up at 32.83. So it has plenty of room to the upside if this rally is going to hold. But again, keep your eyes on the overall market. If the market's strong out of the gates, let's look for some longs. If it's weak out of the gates, I'm personally just going to be very patient if it's weak out of the gates and see if we get some, maybe bottoming tail action, or if that first opening 5-minute candle is extremely weak, maybe we look for some continuation to the downside on that second or third candlestick. But other than that, that's pretty much my watch list for the day. I'm going to be watching XPEV, NEO, Apple, and Virgin Galactic. Those are going to be pretty much my big names, and GameStop.
Nice. All right. Well, For everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you all later.